Hello everybody. Today I'll be demonstrating how to change the background of an image using GIMP. GIMP is a free photo editing software you can download online. I will add the link below. This demonstration is suitable for beginners and anyone with basic computer literacy. As you can see, I already have GIMP open on my screen. Firstly, I'm going to click on File, Open, and select the image I'll be changing the background on. Then I'll be clicking View at the top, and I'm going to zoom in on the image. However, I find it easier to use my keyboard to zoom in and out, using the Shift plus key to zoom in and the negative key to zoom out. Now that I'm zoomed in, I can start tracing around my object. So to trace around my object, I'm going to go into the toolbox and use the free select tool. And I'm just going to start at the top of the head by right clicking and then letting go and dragging my cursor to the next point, and right click again, and you'll continue this whole way around the object until you get back to the first dot and the dots will connect. I'm just going to speed this part up while I trace this object. Just bear in mind that this is very tedious and to take your time doing this. Now that I've finished tracing the object, I'm just going to go down to the free select toolbox in the bottom left here and just check that the feather edges is on, and you can play around with the radius. Doing this will change the edges of the cutout of your image and make them soft or sharp. Now I'm going to go up to the top and select File and Open, and I'm going to select the image which I want to be my new background. So I'm just going to open that one. Now that that's open, I'm going to go back to my cutout image and select Edit and Cut. Now I'm going to go back to the new background and select Edit, Paste. The cutout object is a lot larger than the background, but I'm going to adjust this shortly. Firstly, I'm going to anchor my new cutout. So at the moment it's just floating, a floating image. It doesn't have its own layer channel. So I'm just going to go down to the left corner here, down the bottom. There's a little green button with a white folder with a plus sign. So I'm going to select that to anchor my cutout. So now the cutout is anchored. You can see between both layers is the background and the cutout. Now to adjust the size of my cutout, as it is significantly larger, I'm going to go over to the toolbox menu and select the handle transform tool. And then I'm going to select my cutout. And to use this, you just select it and then drag up or down, and it warps the image into whatever shape you want it to be. I find it a little bit unpredictable, so I don't like using it. But yeah, so this is how you use it, and you can reset. And then the other option is the unified transform tool. I quite like this one more because it's a little bit easier to control the movements. So you're just clicking on the bottom here, the square, and you just drag up. So I'm just going to make that quite small. I'm just going to keep adjusting my cutout until I'm happy with the size. You can also move it around your background by clicking next to the center circle and just dragging it into a position that you're happy with. So I'm going to leave it at this size here, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. And in the top right, there is the little toolbox there, and you just click transform to confirm that size, so it won't change size now. I'm going to flip the object using the flip tool in the toolbox. So like a mirror image, I want to flip it horizontally. So I'm just going to click horizontal just to check that I'm going to flip it that way. And then you just select the image and it can turn for you. So now that my cutout is where I want it and it's flipped in the right direction, I'm going to go up to filters and go down and select light and shadow and select drop shadow and give my cutout a shadow. I'm just going to adjust the opacity depending on your image, how dark you want the shadow. And once I'm happy with that, a little bit under halfway, I'm going to select OK. Now to start blending my image to look more like the background, I'm going to go to the Dodge Burn tool in the toolbox and select that one. And then I'm just going to scroll down and make sure that the burn type is selected. And once I've selected the burn type, I'm going to go over and start making a little shadow. So make sure that your background is selected when you do this. So I'm just giving a little shadow here behind the object, that way to make it blend and look a little bit more realistic with where it is. So once I've done that one, I'm just going to increase the brush size in my toolbox there and just give the T-Rex some shadowing as well, just to blend in with the shadowing with the other object. So just a little bit, I don't want to make it look too much. Once I'm done with blending and giving a shadow on the background, just over in the left side in the toolbox, I'm going to make sure that I have highlights selected in underneath range and burn is still selected. And I'm just going to click on my cutout layer and just go over that and just put some shadowing on that to blend it more with the background. So I've just sped this up a little bit as it's a little bit tedious. But yeah, just take your time and keep zooming in and out and check how it looks. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking actually. So now that I'm finished with the Dodge and Burn tool and shadowing, I'm going to go up to File and Export As. I'm going to export the image. Otherwise, it's not going to save as a JPEG, it's just going to save in GIMP, so you have to make sure that you export the image. So once you've named the image, you're going to go down to Export and choose a folder where you want to export it to. Also, if you want to save the file as a JPEG, you just go to the bottom left there where it says Select File Type and click that extension, and it will give you the option to save it as a JPEG or a PDF. If you want to learn more about changing backgrounds on GIMP, there are lots of different ways to do so. I'll add a few links below to different YouTube tutorials so you can follow along and see how you go with those ones. Other than that, thank you very much for watching this demonstration, and I hope you learned something from it.